It started like any other dull Tuesday night in Dalton, Illinois, a routine board meeting. Usually so quiet you forget it even happened, but not this one. The second Tiffany Henyard walked in, alone, no trustees, no quorum. Everything changed. What should have been a civic meeting turned into a one-woman spectacle. Chaos on display. She grabbed the mic, stared into the camera, and declared, "This is not a Q&A. This is my statement." In that moment, she didn't sound like a mayor. She sounded like a ringmaster running a circus nobody signed up for. And here's the thing. She wasn't speaking to the room. The seats were empty. She was speaking to the internet, to the headlines, to the lens. It wasn't about leading Dalton. It was about controlling the narrative. Loud, arrogant, defiant. But while she was busy performing, the real drama wasn't outside. It wasn't protesters or reporters. It was someone much closer. Someone from inside her own circle who had finally had enough. A whistleblower. Reportedly one of her own. Leaked footage that blew up like gasoline on fire. Within hours, it was viral. Commentators called it the biggest political betrayal of the year. Others said karma had finally arrived. Whatever you called it, the damage was nuclear. For years, Tiffany surrounded herself with yes men and loyalists who defend her no matter what. But now that wall of blind loyalty, it's crumbling fast. And those cracks, they didn't start with this leak. They've been there for months. Henyard's been playing political chess, but every move screams desperation. She appointed her own village administrator, an attorney without board approval. She dragged her personal lawyer into canceled meetings just to scold trustees for not showing up. These weren't power moves. These were panic moves. Erratic, sloppy, borderline illegal. Every step exposing her weakness instead of her strength. And just when it looked like her recklessness couldn't get worse, the Illinois Attorney General stepped in. Kwame Raoul's office ruled Dalton violated the Open Meetings Act twice. June and July meetings, doors locked, seats stripped out, public literally barred from entering. And Tiffany's excuse? A childish note calling her and her mom losers. A note that didn't even exist until after the meetings. The Attorney General wasn't buying it. They called it exactly what it was. Ridiculous, overblown, and an abuse of power. But that's Tiffany's pattern. Overreach, overspend, overreact. Always. And speaking of overspending, hold on to your seat. After months of stonewalling, investigators finally pried open her township credit card records. What they found? Outrageous. In just 5 months, Henyard racked up more than $67,000 in travel on the township card. Add what she billed Dalton, and the total shoots past $100,000. 100 grand. On what? Lavish hotels, first-class flights, fine dining. And her excuse? Conference attendance. As if taxpayer money is her personal monopoly cash. In Tiffany's version of public service, luxury isn't a perk, it's the job. But here's where it gets even messier, her inner circle. Enter Keith Freeman, her former right-hand man. He was in every meeting, copied on every email, part of every shady decision. He knew it all. So when whispers spread that Freeman might be cooperating with federal investigators, Tiffany panicked. She tried to fire him, but the board never approved it. Legally, Freeman was still in power and still dangerous. Rumors swirled. Freeman had flipped. He had receipts. Real ones. Tiffany scrambled to cut him loose, but like always, it blew up in her face. Freeman fought back. Hard. Now, the lawsuits are pouring in. One employee says she was fired for refusing to be a yes woman. Another accuses Henyard of sabotaging his business out of pure spite. And then there's Dwayne Thrash, the former head of maintenance, suing for constitutional violations after he refused to help Tiffany swap out a school board attorney for someone more loyal. See the pattern? The second you question her, you're out, fired, silenced, canceled. That's why Dalton's government looks less like a village hall and more like a revolving door of subpoenas, investigations, and courtroom drama. And even her own allies, they've had enough. Take Carmen Corral, once a loyal teammate, now a whistleblower going public with both barrels. She says Henyard's been unethical and predatory from day one. manipulating vendors, manipulating employees, manipulating regular residents, all to create a fake image of success, a fraud, a scam built on taxpayer dollars. And now that illusion, it's cracking fast, because Tiffany Henyard today, she's not a leader, she's not a mayor, she's a cautionary tale unraveling in real time. Her grip on power is slipping. The lawsuits are multiplying. The receipts keep stacking. And every single day, more insiders are stepping forward. This isn't over. Not even close. In fact, it's just getting started. If there's one name Tiffany Henyard can't shake in the wreckage of her spiraling empire, it's Keith Freeman. He wasn't just an assistant. He was her fixer, her enforcer, her shadow in every shady deal. He sat in the rooms. He heard the whispers. He handled the files. So when word spread that Freeman might be talking to the FBI, panic ripped through Henyard's camp. And in classic Tiffany fashion, she tried to cut him off fast, without board approval. But that move blew up, because on paper, Freeman was still administrator, which meant one thing: access to systems, to receipts, to evidence you can't bury with a press release. And here's the kicker: Freeman isn't clean. He's under federal investigation himself for bankruptcy fraud and retaliation. But when Henyard tossed him on the bus, his loyalty snapped. He flipped too. Now insiders say he's sitting on documents that don't just gossip, they indict. And with Freeman fighting back, the lawsuits started to roll in. One worker claimed she was fired for saying no. Another says Henyard blocked his business license out of spite. Then there's Dwayne Thrash, pushed out after refusing to help oust a school board attorney. Wrongful terminations, retaliation, abuse of power, a pattern too loud to ignore. But the real shockwave came from inside her circle. Carmen Corral, once her ally, broke ranks and went public. No anonymity, no filters. She accused Henyard of weaponizing employees, vendors, even residents to fake a narrative of power. She didn't hedge. She dropped receipts. And Henyard's response? Not a defense, not evidence, just mockery. She branded her lying corral, turning whistleblowing into a playground insult. But in doing that, she accidentally confirmed she was in the room. Because if Corral was lying, why admit the meetings even happened? Then came the unfiltered truth. At a heated board meeting, a resident stood up and said it plain: the residents already know you're stealing from them. That's when Henyard broke completely, claiming she was sent by God, calling herself rare, chosen, divine. It wasn't leadership. It was delusion, like watching someone throw a standing ovation for themselves in an empty theater. Here's the bottom line. This isn't just a scandal. It's a collapse. Federal investigators are circling. Lawsuits are piling. Allies are fleeing. And Henyard? She's still gripping the mic, still putting on the same tired show, convinced volume can drown out reality. But it can't. The empire's crumbling, and the so-called super mayor? Out of gas. The only question left is, does Tiffany Henyard crash here, or is the most devastating twist still waiting to hit?